The story of the Tamil people is not one of a single place or a particular kingdom, but rather the chronicle of one of humanity's most ancient and continuous cultural lineages. It is a narrative woven from an unbroken thread of human presence, linguistic identity, and cultural evolution that stretches from the dimmest epochs of the Stone Age to the vibrant classicism of the Sangam Age. This account traces that thread through millennia, revealing a story of remarkable resilience, adaptation, and enduring identity. This journey into the deep past is guided by three distinct but interwoven strands of evidence, which together form a powerful and coherent narrative. The first is archaeology, the ground truth revealed in the physical remains of past lives. From the million-year-old stone tools of the first hominins to the brick foundations of sophisticated cities, the soil of Tamil Nadu provides a tangible timeline of human activity and technological progress. The second pillar is genetics, the biological blueprint written in the DNA of ancient and modern populations. This evidence uncovers the story of ancestral migrations, the mixing of diverse peoples, and the formation of the unique South Indian gene pool, confirming the deep indigenous roots of its people. The final strand is linguistics and literature, the cultural voice of a people. The study of the Dravidian language family acts as a kind of genetic code for culture, tracing its origins and spread, while the rich tapestry of classical Sangam literature offers an unparalleled window into the society, beliefs, and worldview of the early Tamil civilization. By weaving these three threads together, this account embarks on a chronological journey. It begins with the first hominin inhabitants of the Paleolithic era, a period stretching from over 1.5 million years ago to 10,000 BCE, marked by the earliest human presence and the establishment of the ancient ancestral South Indians. It then moves through the Mesolithic and the transformative agricultural revolution of the Neolithic from roughly 2500 BCE to 1000 BCE, which saw a pivotal admixture of indigenous peoples with incoming farmers. The narrative then explores the profound legacy of the Indus Valley civilization and traces the rise of complex Iron Age societies between 1800 BCE and 300 BCE, a time of technological advancement and the southward dispersal of Post-Indus populations. Finally, it culminates in the cultural flourishing of the Sangam Age, from approximately 600 BCE to 300 CE, where urbanism, literacy, and the Tamil identity found their first full and eloquent expression. The story of human presence in the land that would become Tamil Nadu begins in a past so remote it is measured not in centuries, but in millennia. During the Paleolithic, or Old Stone Age, the region was home to some of the earliest hominins to walk the Indian subcontinent. The most profound evidence of this immense antiquity comes from the site of Atirampakam, located near the Cordillera River, about 60 kilometers from modern-day Chennai. Here, archaeologists have unearthed stone tools that date back as far as 1.5 to 1.7 million years, making it one of the oldest known human-inhabited sites in all of India. The creators of these tools were not modern humans, but an earlier species, likely Homo erectus. The tools themselves crude but effective hand axes, cleavers, and choppers crafted from quartzite pebbles are part of a tradition known as the Madrasian culture, first identified at this very site in 1863. For hundreds of thousands of years, these early hominins lived a hunter-gatherer existence, adapting to the changing environments of prehistoric South India. This was a time of pure survival, marking the very first human footprints on this ancient landscape. The continuous occupation of the land, evidenced by layers of tools showing technological evolution over vast periods, establishes a powerful narrative of continuity. The story of the Tamil people thus begins not with a specific ethnic group, but with the story of humanity itself taking root in South India. The narrative shifts dramatically with the arrival of our own species, Homo sapiens, who migrated out of Africa and reached South Asia around 60,000 to 50,000 years ago. These were the first modern humans to settle the subcontinent, and their genetic legacy forms the bedrock of all subsequent populations. Geneticists refer to this foundational lineage as Ancient Ancestral South Indians, or AASI. These AASI were the direct ancestors who established a continuous presence across the land. Genetic studies reveal that this ancestral group is distantly related to other ancient East Eurasian populations, including the indigenous peoples of the Andaman Islands and Australia. This AASI lineage represents the deepest layer in the biological and cultural ancestry of the region. While all modern South Asians are a mix of various ancestral groups, the AASI component is particularly strong in the South and among tribal populations, serving as a living link to those first human explorers. This establishes a crucial point. The Tamil origin story is deeply indigenous. It is not primarily a story of a people who came to a land, but of a people who emerged from a land that had been a cradle of human evolution for millennia. The Neolithic period, or New Stone Age, ushered in one of the most profound transformations in human history. In Tamil Nadu, this era began around 2500 BCE, marking the shift from a nomadic hunter-gatherer existence to a settled life based on farming and animal husbandry. This was not merely a technological change, but a complete reordering of society, economy, and humanity's relationship with the environment. People began to cultivate crops, domesticate animals, live in permanent villages, and create pottery for storage and cooking. This societal revolution was accompanied by a pivotal demographic event. Genetic evidence reveals a significant migration of early agriculturalists from the Fertile Crescent, specifically the Iranian Plateau, into the Indian subcontinent beginning around 5000 to 4000 BC. These newcomers brought with them the knowledge of farming. Crucially, they did not replace the indigenous AASI hunter-gatherers who had inhabited the land for tens of thousands of years. Instead, a widespread process of admixture occurred. This genetic fusion of Iranian farmer ancestry and indigenous AASI hunter-gatherer ancestry created a new, distinct population group. This biological event is the single most important building block in the formation of the people who would later be known as Dravidian. This admixed population became the primary ancestral stock for the people of the great Indus Valley civilization in the northwest, and also for the majority of modern South Indians, including the Tamil people. This genetic link is fundamental as it establishes a direct biological connection between the Neolithic peoples of the broader subcontinent and the populations that would build India's first great cities, setting the stage for the later southward dispersal of that legacy. The archaeological site of Payampally in Vellore district, Tamil Nadu, provides a vivid snapshot of this new, settled way of life. Excavations at the site, which sits on the slope of a hill, have uncovered the remains of a Neolithic village dating to the 2nd millennium BCE. The evidence points to a community living in permanent settlements. Archaeologists found dwelling pits dug into the soil, some with post holes around the edges suggesting thatched roofs, as well as the foundations of circular huts built on wooden posts with floors made of plastered stone chips. The tools of this era were more refined than their Paleolithic predecessors, consisting of polished stone axes, grinders for processing grain, and chisels. The villagers of Payampally practiced a mixed economy. The discovery of charred grains, including cereals and pulses, confirms they were farmers, while terracotta figurines of cattle indicate they were also pastoralists who domesticated animals. They produced handmade gray-ware pottery, sometimes decorated with red ochre, for storing their food and water. This site, along with others in the region, illustrates the tangible reality of the Neolithic revolution in the Tamil country, where communities began to lay down roots and build the foundations of a new social order. While Neolithic villages were taking root in the south, one of the world's first great urban civilizations was flourishing in the northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent. The Indus Valley Civilization, IVC, also known as the Harappan civilization, was a vast and sophisticated culture characterized by meticulously planned cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, advanced sanitation systems, standardized weights and measures, and a unique, still undeciphered script. For decades, the identity of its people and the language they spoke remained a profound mystery. Today, a compelling body of evidence points toward a powerful conclusion. The IVC was very likely a Proto-Dravidian-speaking civilization. The theory connecting the IVC to the Dravidian language family rests on three main pillars of evidence. First is the genetic link. As established, the people of the IVC were primarily a mix of the same two ancestral groups, indigenous AASI and Iranian Neolithic farmers, that formed the bedrock of the modern South Indian population. This demonstrates that the Harappans were ancestrally tied to the peoples who would later dominate the South. Second are the linguistic echoes. The most striking piece of evidence is the existence of the Brahui language, a Dravidian tongue still spoken today by communities in Baluchistan, Pakistan, right in the heartland of the ancient IVC, separated by more than 1,000 kilometers from the next nearest Dravidian language. Brahui is considered a linguistic fossil, a surviving remnant from a time when Dravidian languages were spoken across that entire region. Furthermore, the earliest form of the Indo-Aryan language, Sanskrit, as recorded in the Rig Veda, contains distinct loanwords, sounds, and grammatical structures that are not of Indo-European origin. This linguistic borrowing provides strong evidence that Proto-Dravidian speakers were already present in the Northwest and interacted extensively with the newly arriving Indo-Aryan speakers. Around 2000 to 1700 BCE, the great cities of the Indus Valley began to decline. This was not a sudden collapse caused by invasion, but a gradual process of deurbanization driven largely by long-term climate change, including the weakening of the monsoon and widespread aridization, which made large-scale agriculture in the region unsustainable. This environmental shift triggered a profound demographic transformation. Genetic studies have traced a large-scale migration of people with Indus peripherycline ancestry moving southwards and eastwards after the decline of the IVC. This was not the end of the Harappan people, but a transformative dispersal that carried their legacy into new lands. This southward movement brought the Proto-Dravidian language and its speakers into peninsular India. Here, these migrants mixed further with local populations who had a higher proportion of the ancient Aazai ancestry, creating the specific genetic profile that characterizes modern South Indians. This reframes the entire history of the subcontinent. The legacy of the IVC did not simply vanish. It was carried south, where it became a foundational element of Dravidian culture. The Tamil story is, in this light, a direct continuation of the story of India's first great urban civilization. The dispersal of Post-Indus populations into the south coincided with the dawn of a new technological era. The Iron Age, the adoption of iron, which may have begun in Tamil Nadu as early as the 2nd millennium BCE, was a pivotal development. Iron tools made it possible to clear denser forests for agriculture, leading to increased food production and population growth. Iron weapons were stronger and more effective, contributing to the rise of powerful chieftains and more complex social structures. This period represents a crucial consolidation phase where the cultural and technological knowledge of the post-IVC migrants fused with the deeply rooted indigenous traditions of the South, forging the direct precursors to the great Tamil kingdoms of the Sangam Age. The extraordinary archaeological site of Adikanalar, located on the banks of the Thamirabarani River in Thoothukudi district, offers an unparalleled glimpse into the world of Iron Age Tamil society. Carbon dating places the site's main period of activity between 1000 BCE and 600 BCE, primarily a massive burial complex spanning over 114 acres. Adikanalar reveals a society with remarkable technological skill, complex rituals, and extensive trade networks. The dominant practice at the site was urn burial, where the dead were interred in large clay jars, along with their worldly possessions. The artifacts recovered from these urns are stunning in their craftsmanship and variety. They include an arsenal of sophisticated iron weapons, such as swords, daggers, spears, and arrowheads, demonstrating advanced metallurgical knowledge. Alongside these were intricate objects made of heightened bronze, such as bowls, sieves, and animal figurines, as well as precious gold diadems. The sheer scale of the burial site and the quality of the grave goods indicate a wealthy, settled, and socially stratified community. The presence of agricultural products like rice and millets points to a strong farming base, while non-local materials suggest established trade links, possibly through the nearby ancient port of Korkai. Anthropological analysis of the skeletal remains has even suggested the presence of people with diverse physical traits, hinting that Adikanalar may have been a cosmopolitan hub where different groups interacted. Adikanalar provides the archaeological bridge between the migrations of the 2nd millennium BCE and the literate, state-level societies that would soon emerge. For many years, the historical narrative of ancient India focused on a second urbanization that took place around the 6th century BCE, centered on the great cities of the Gangetic Plains in the north. It was long assumed that civilization spread sequentially from north to south. However, groundbreaking archaeological excavations at Kiladi, a site on the banks of the Vagwai River near Madurai, have fundamentally challenged this model, revealing that a parallel and independent process of urbanization was occurring in the Tamil South at the same time. Kiladi provides the definitive, long-sought archaeological proof for the advanced urban civilization described in classical Sangam literature. It is not just another discovery. It is the physical validation of a literary tradition and the confirmation of an independent trajectory of civilizational development in South India. The findings at Kiladi have been nothing short of revolutionary. Excavations have unearthed a large, well-planned urban settlement dating back to at least 580 BCE. The evidence points to a highly sophisticated society, confirming it as a major urban center with extensive brick structures, well-laid-out buildings, terracotta ring wells for water, and advanced drainage systems using terracotta pipes. This demonstrates a mastery of urban planning and civic engineering. Kiladi was also a bustling industrial hub. The discovery of numerous spindle whorls and dyeing vats indicates a significant textile industry, while workshops for making beads from semi-precious stones, like carnelian and agate, along with tools made from bone and ivory, reveal a diverse and skilled economy with wide-ranging trade connections. Perhaps the most significant discovery is the abundance of pottery inscribed with names and words in the Tamil Brahmi script. The dating of these artifacts to the 6th century BCE pushes back the timeline for literacy in the Tamil country by several centuries, confirming this was a literate society. Intriguingly, many potsherds from Keeladi bear graffiti marks that show a striking similarity to symbols from the undeciphered Indus script, raising the possibility of a long-term cultural memory or an evolutionary connection between the subcontinent's first script and the one that emerged in the south over a millennium later. This progression of civilization is evident across key archaeological sites. Adirempakam, a lower Paleolithic site, provides the oldest evidence of hominin presence in India with its 1.5 million-year-old stone tools. The Neolithic site of Payampally demonstrates the shift to settled agricultural life with its dwelling pits, polished stone axes, and evidence of cultivation. The Iron Age site of Adikanalar reveals a complex society with advanced metallurgy, evidenced by its massive urn burial site containing iron swords and gold diadems. Finally, Kiladi, an early historic site from the Sangam Age, offers definitive proof of an advanced, literate, urban civilization in the Tamil South, contemporary with the Gangetic cities. With its large-scale brick buildings and Tamil Brahmi script from the 6th century BCE, the Sangam Age represents the classical period of Tamil history, a time when the culture that had been developing for millennia found its definitive and enduring voice. The name comes from the legends of the Sangams, or academies of poets and scholars, who were said to have gathered in Madurai to compose and compile this body of literature. This literature is the cultural blueprint of the early Tamil civilization, revealing a worldview and social organization that was distinct, sophisticated, and deeply rooted in the southern landscape. The political landscape of ancient Tamilakam, as the region was known, was dominated by the three crowned kings: the Cheras in the west, the Cholas in the Kavari Delta to the east, and the Pandyas in the south, with their capital at Madurai. Alongside these powerful monarchies were numerous smaller territories ruled by chieftains, known as viziers, creating a dynamic political environment. Sangam literature, particularly the grammatical work Tolkapiam, describes a unique social structure organized not by a rigid hierarchical caste system but by the land itself. Society was divided into 5 distinct ecozones or thinai: the mountainous regions of Karingi, home to hunters; the forests and pastoral lands of Mulai, inhabited by herders; the fertile agricultural plains of Marutham, where farmers lived; the coastal areas of Netho, home to fisherfolk; and the arid lands of Plié, associated with warriors. Each thenai had its own distinct people, occupations, deities, and cultural practices, reflecting a society whose identity was intrinsically tied to its environment. The vast corpus of Sangam poetry is broadly classified into 2 main themes that encapsulate the Tamil worldview: Akam and Puram. Akam poems deal with the inner world of human experience, primarily love and relationships, using imagery from the 5 landscapes to subtly convey specific moods. Puram poems address the outer world of public life, celebrating the heroism of kings, lamenting the devastation of war, and discussing the principles of good governance. This literature paints a vivid picture of a bustling society, with a robust economy based on agriculture and extensive maritime trade with distant lands, including the Roman Empire. It depicts a diverse religious life that included the worship of indigenous deities like Murugan and Mayon, alongside practices influenced by Vedic, Buddhist, and Jain traditions. It was a society that placed great value on education, poetry, honor, and the nuanced expression of human emotion. The origin of the Tamil people is an epic narrative that spans millions of years, tracing an unbroken thread of human history. The journey begins with the earliest hominins, who left their stone tools on the riverbanks of Adirampakkam, and continues with the arrival of the first modern humans, whose ancient ancestral South Indian lineage forms the genetic bedrock of the population. This indigenous foundation was enriched during the Neolithic era by the arrival of agriculturalists from the West, whose admixture created the primary ancestral stock of the subcontinent. This story is profoundly connected to India's first great urban civilization. The decline of the Indus Valley was not an end, but a dispersal that seeded the south with its Proto-Dravidian language and people. In the fertile lands of the peninsula, this legacy took root and flourished. During the Iron Age, as seen at Adikanalar, this consolidated culture developed advanced technology and complex social structures, laying the groundwork for the kingdoms to come. The stunning revelations at Kiladi provide the final, irrefutable proof of this indigenous development, showcasing a literate, industrial, and sophisticated urban civilization thriving in the Vagai Valley from at least the 6th century BCE. This long, continuous journey of genetic fusion, linguistic evolution, and cultural consolidation culminated in the classical Sangam Age. In the rich poetry of this era, the Tamil people articulated a unique and mature worldview, a society shaped by its landscape, and a culture that valued both the inner world of love and the outer world of honor. The story of Tamil origins is one of remarkable continuity. It is a testament to a people who have adapted and evolved over millennia while retaining a deep connection to their ancient past. This history has shaped an enduring identity, making the Tamil language and its culture one of the world's oldest living classical traditions. It is not merely a relic of the past, but a living heritage that continues to resonate today.